All right, Alan, to start with, going to be talking about Rangers. Now, of course, there was that surprise news actually about Clinton and Ciala announcements signing for the club. What are your thoughts on that piece of news?
Yeah, I think it's another really good signing for Rangers moving forward. He's a young guy. He's only 20 years of age. He's got a decent background now, and he wants to progress. I know he was at AC Milan, but the opportunity to play first team football's there for him to go and prove himself. From what I've seen, I like he's big, he's strong. He's on the left hand side. I think that's what they need as well. He plays the ball forward and technically looks very good. So I think there's room for improvement. These are the types of players that Rangers are looking to sign moving forward. So yeah, I think from what I've seen so far, hopefully it'll be a good one.
Do you think he's a guaranteed starter, Alan, for next season? Do you think he pairs up, provided that Goldson is going to be at the club? Are those probably the preferred back two potentially, do you think?
Well, it seems that Rangers were looking for a left-sided centre half. The Cordoba one didn't quite work out, so they've moved on to their next target. It's an interesting one to see how it works out. Is Connor Goldson going to be a main starter in this upcoming season after what we've seen towards the end of last? So I think everyone starts from afresh. So there's room there. I mean, he can definitely force his way in. It's really down to him and what he does at pre-season. They see a lot in him, but it's can he go and take that next step at being so young? So hopefully he can, and he can put real pressure on the boys that are already there.
And what does it mean for the likes of, say, Ben Davies? Do you think his future now would be in doubt given this young signing coming into the club?
Possibly. I mean, look, when he's been called upon, I think he's done okay. Do I see him playing week in, week out? I'm not so sure, if I'm totally honest. And the Goldson one is a really intriguing one for me if he stays or if he goes. Because if that's the case, you're looking at maybe Suter and Balogun on that right-hand side, and then who have you got on the left? So there's going to be opportunities there. So there's some big games coming up with the qualifiers as well, just round the corner. So you really want to get in and get started quickly.
We know Al Etifak is still interested in James Tavenier and Connor Goldson, like I mentioned very briefly. What would their valuations be, Alan? And would you let them go in a double deal if an absolutely huge offer came in potentially?
Yeah, I think if a decent offer came in, I think Rangers are going to listen to it. Tavernier, we know, and Connor Goldson have been incredible for the club all the years that they've been there, all the stats that James Tavernier's put on the board, and Goldson's just impressive displays. I mean, are you looking at it now and thinking, right, it's time to look to the future? Where are we going next? Is Sterling going to come in next season and play it right back, or is Tavernier going to be that guy? But I think if we say it all the time, money talks. I mean, if a decent sized valuation for the two of them comes in, then they'll probably look at it. It's a hard one to kind of put a figure on it. I mean, are we talking, I don't know, close to 10 million for two? Is it under that? Is it going to be 8? I mean, I don't really know how they're going to kind of figure that out with their ages and different things, but the quality's definitely there. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Yilmaz's agent has said as well he has no plans to leave the club this summer at least. Is that good news? And actually, does that sort of reaffirm potentially or reinstate his sort of maybe drive to be that number one, like the starting left back every week potentially?
Yeah, I would like to see him stay. I think it did take him a little bit of time to settle in, but for me, it went past Barisic in terms of who's going to be the starting fullback. We know he was about to leave, but I think we're starting to see the best of him, especially towards the end of the season. That he kind of came to the fore, and you could see why Rangers brought him to the club. Yes, Jeffrey's come in as well. There's going to be competition there, but I think you need that. We've spoken about it again, that you need each other to push each other on to get the best out of each other. So it's going to be a good battle. I don't want to see him leave. I mean, I think he's going to get better the more he plays, and that competition, as I say, is going to push him on. So it'll be an interesting battle, but I think at least stay for another year. I know the rumours have been there, but it leaves Rangers short if he was to go.
And Ianis Hadji's now returned to the club from his loan spell at Alaves. How much can he be sold for? I mean, it looks like he's sort of destined to leave. What sort of valuation would interest you potentially?
I mean, it's a difficult one. I think when it was talking about like the Hadji, Lammers and all these kind of guys, it's difficult just to put a figure on it. Of course, Rangers want the most money possible. I do think he'll leave. I mean, if they can get, I can't remember exactly what they signed him for, but if they can get 2, 3, 4 million for him, I think they would be happy with that, because it doesn't look like his future's at the club at this moment in time. And that's my opinion as well. So whatever money that they can get in, they'll look to reinvest, because it looks like those sort of winger positions they're trying to strengthen as well.
One name to mention that looks like the Rangers might be interested in, along with potentially Celtic and one or two other Championship clubs. Tommy Conway from Bristol City, out of contract next summer. Do you think he'd suit the move? You're smiling already. Would he suit the move? Is that a name you're excited by?
Yeah, because it's amazing because, to be honest, I hadn't seen him play a lot until I was doing the Scotland games, and then you have to really kind of go into depth and see what they're all about. I know he'd been called up after Lyndon Dykes and Doak left the squad, so he's something a little bit different from what I've seen. He scored a good number of goals for Bristol City in the Championship. I think it was 12 or something like that off the top of my memory. But he likes to run in behind, and I didn't realise he was as quick until I seen him. So he come on for his debut, I thought was excellent, and there was a real freedom in his game. He wanted to go and press. He worked really hard. He wanted to get in behind. So again, I think that's something that Rangers like, that striker moving in behind. So I think he'd be a good quality signing, and one again that's so young and he's going to improve. So I think it does tick a lot of boxes for Rangers and other teams. I'm not surprised they're looking at him.
And it is said there could be up to 12 new signings this summer for the club. What are your thoughts? And actually, do you yourself see an overhaul at the team? Do you think that's what Philippe Clement needs for next season?
Yeah, I think it is about time. But the only downside to that is, as we seem to be talking about this season after season, that it's time for an overhaul, it's time for a change. And I don't think you can find a settled team when that's constantly happening. There's ins, there's outs, just all the time, every transfer window. You look at Celtic, who you basically know they're starting 11, which is why they're so good, I think. They've got boys that can come in and compete, but you know that where their strengths are. So Rangers have to get it right this time. I do believe in Philippe Clement and what he's doing moving forward. So I trust his process, but you have to get it right. If there's going to be that amount of players coming in and leaving, you have to make sure you make the right choices.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.